This video is brought to you by CAPBEAST.com. Design your own custom snapbacks and hats. We are Beast.
I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
It's Booby.
And Culpy and Chip.
And Oreo.
Yep. Still here.
Still here.
Still hanging on.
Just waiting for the. Did we publish that video yet?
No.
We're publishing it as underground tonight.
Probably.
Okay, good. I cannot wait to see the comments.
I know. The goings on. The look on your face.
For timely topical political commentary, you can hit us up in Middle America with Vin and Sori.
Or behind the scenes with our family. My Sori Life.
Okay, so we have a $75 partner tier where you can get a local band that's never been heard before. So a lot of folks have pretty much, which wasn't really a difficult thing to outsmart us, but basically they were like, yeah, there's this band named Metallica that we would like you to play. So this is the big homie. This is Rachel?
Yep, this one's from Rachel.
Is that Rachel the Village Maggot? I'm pretty sure that's her.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, she's smart, so she picked HELLYEAH instead of a Slipknot song because she knows that Slipknot is on heavy rotation on this channel. So, smart lady.
Have we heard HELLYEAH before?
Never.
Okay, I was like...
I'm pretty sure there's like members of Pantera, like former members of Pantera, I think.
Oh.
Or something. I don't know. I'll Google it or something, or maybe the lyric place will have it.
Oh, lyric place. I like that picture. Is that the album cover?
Yeah, like the eye.
Yeah. The exclamation point. In
2016. Shiza. That was, a couple years ago. About 2 years ago, so... Look at that. So, pretty recent song. What's the name of this song?
Love Falls.
Love Falls.
I keep feeling like it should be Love Fails.
Yeah, but it's Love Falls.
I know, but I'm like, did I type that wrong? Is that an L or... Okay.
It's anyway. Love Falls, babe.
Go.
Have you cried? choke, 'cause every time I fall in, love falls out of me. I'm hiding like a rock, a stone, the brick inside my chest, alone, 'cause every time I fall in, love falls out of me. I'm hanging by a thread, a rope, the noose around my neck. I choke, 'cause every time I fall in, love falls out of me. 'Cause every time I fall in, love falls out of me. Love falls out of me.
Yep, I am definitely a fan of these people.
I figured you'd like it. Girlfriend music.
Well, that's not just why. I really like the way it sounded. I like the aggressive way that they were singing. The chorus. I don't know, really liked it. Did you like it?
Yeah, this is a singer from Mudvayne, and the drummer was Vinny from Pantera.
Yep.
Dime's brother.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you liked it?
Yeah, I mean,
I knew it.
no, I did. There just wasn't a lot of variation
Yeah.
toward the end.
Yeah.
But, you know, we haven't listened to Mudvayne in a while, and I forgot how good of a
Man.
singer-songwriter
He is?
he is.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he's the main songwriter here, but he was just so smart lyrically. Chad
Yeah.
Gray. Lyrically, that's it. Mudvayne was one of the more underrated bands in the new metal era.
Yeah. That's what you
And
said.
yeah, and lyrically, this dude is one of the most. He's in a different universe. Like he's in a different kind of like you can't really, you know, he's not Danny Filth, but he lyrically, this guy he's a monster. He's really good. And you know, the thing about him is that he knows how to be melodic without it being like too singy. There's still kind of that grime and grit to the way that he sings. It's still rock, but it's still got kind of a melody with it. I just wish the instruments would have been more dynamic, you know?
Oh.
That's the thing, like, I get it, you like the vocals, you liked what he was saying, so you didn't really care about the instruments that much. Like, Didn't seem that you were very moved.
I experienced what?
Didn't seem you were very moved with the guitar work.
Well, I experienced some heaviness, and I don't know, are you saying it was just the vocals? That nothing else was really that
I
heavy?
mean, it's not. Anybody can make a heavy. It's just like I don't know. It's probably because Vinny's in the band and Dime wasn't, and if Dime was in the band, this song would have been insane.
Oh, yeah?
But you know, no disrespect to them, but no, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Lyrically, I thought it was a masterpiece. To just push it up to that 9 or 10 level for me, I'd have needed to see some more dynamics in the musicianship. But no, I mean, it was a good song. But what did you like so much about it? Drive the Car, like what was important to you about the song?
I just liked the way that vocally what they were doing with it, and then all of a sudden when they would go into the chorus and it just got like really hard like that.
What does this mean when you do that?
Oh, I'm just like into it. I love it. I just, yes.
This is a scream. Yeah! Yeah! What did Colin do? Yeah!
I don't know,
Remember
I
that?
missed it.
Yeah. I love it, he says. Go ahead.
Well, I liked the way that, like when have you ever cried yourself to sleep? I mean, who hasn't? Have you ever cried yourself to sleep?
No.
I think lots of people have.
I just don't go to sleep.
Maybe it's, yeah.
I just wouldn't go to sleep.
Yeah, that's true. Have you felt this incomplete? Have you ever cut yourself so deep to see if you still bleed? Like, I think that these feelings are like very relatable to like a lot of people. I mean, I don't know. I think that a lot of people experience this. Do you ever feel wanted? Do you ever feel needed? Do you ever feel happy, or are you just like me? Because I think that there's this questioning and stuff that comes into like it's just part of your human existence. Like even like, you know, like experiencing, you know, we're talking to somebody about they're experiencing loneliness, you know what I mean? Even in a crowded room, they're lonely.
Oh.
You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that feeling, we all know that feeling, or at least I assume we all know the feeling.
I don't think everybody knows that feeling. I think
Really?
there's certain type of personality types.
What type?
I think it's people who are charismatic but are introverts. That combination is really detrimental to. It creates those types of situations.
Oh.
Because people think that they know you and they think that, you know, blah, 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 and you're having a good time and you're the life of the party and nobody really knows you.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I don't have a problem saying it was Zoe.
Yeah.
Because that's how she is.
Yeah.
She needs a lot of time to herself and she's...
Yeah, and who knew? I didn't
Well,
see that coming.
Yeah, it didn't surprise me.
It surprised me.
She's a very, very dynamic thinker, but she's so charismatic that there's always people around her. People are so attracted to her. But a lot of people really don't know what's the inner machinations of whatever. So, yeah. Yeah, she's entering into the teenage years with her is gonna be a joy. And I mean it because I remember being her age and being, you know, feeling like, what is going on? And why are all these people around me?
Oh my gosh.
And being like, I need to be by myself. And everybody's like, man, where's Vin?
Oh my word.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But do you think that this is, what elicited that line of, that stream of thought? Where did that come from?
What I just said?
Yeah.
Right there at the beginning, scroll down. When he's talking about, like, do you ever feel wanted? Do you ever feel needed? Do you ever feel happy? Or are you just like me?
Oh, I see.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
have you felt this incomplete? Have you cried yourself to sleep? You know, have you ever cut yourself so deep to see if you still bleed? Like, all of those different things, like, to me, that just encompasses that, like, questioning part of, like, again, I don't know if everybody experiences it, but, like, for myself personally, like, there are days where I'm just, like, I start questioning things and I start thinking things through and I'm, like, you know, trying to work through certain feelings or certain feelings of sadness or loneliness. And that, you know, and a lot of times I ask myself, like, are they happy? Is that person happy? Like, are they happy? Because you scroll through, I'm not like an avid Facebook user, you know what I mean?
Right.
So I'll kind of like, depends on, I don't know what it really depends on, but so all of a sudden I'll just be like on Facebook for a little while and I'll be scrolling through and I'll be like seeing, you know, people's constant pictures, and like most people are putting out all their best stuff on social media. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because I'm like, oh, well, I haven't been on social media, so I'm like, I hung out with that girl for a long time and she was never that happy. Like, I don't think that her life has changed that much to make it so that way she's like happy every day and everything's working out, you know? And especially then people will like private message you and you hear more of what's going on with them and you're like, oh, so it's not like what's going out on social media, you know what I mean? But I'll ask myself, you know, I wonder if they're happy. I wonder if they're happy. And happiness like is important to me. People like being happy. I want people
You
to
mean
be
other
happy.
people being happy?
Myself too. I want to be happy. And I want other people to be happy. I want us all to be happy. So, you know, then I ask those questions like, well, what makes people really happy? Like, you know, I think that, you know, I've experienced happy times with my relationship with God. And then I've experienced happy times with my friends or with family and stuff. But none of those happinesses last forever. Like all of them, like you still go through times of not being happy. And feeling sad or feeling depressed. But then he says, I'm hanging by a thread, and I was like, well, that feeling is familiar too, you know, like where you're just like at the edge and you literally feel like, man, the only thing holding me here is like a friggin' thread. And then he says a rope, the noose around my neck, and then I was like, whoa, I thought that was crazy because he went with the same, like the thread, the rope, and now it's not just a rope, it's actually a noose and it's around his friggin' neck.
Right.
So I choke because every time I fall in. Now this part though I didn't understand because every time I fall in, love falls out of me.
Well, he's doubling up on the term love.
Yes, and I was having trouble to.
It's a literary device. It's brilliant. where you take that word and the word
It
focuses
goes for the back end and the beginning of the other one.
Correct. Seduct. Right. So every time I fall in love, love falls out of me is the idea. But he doesn't use the second word love because he's leaving it to the audience.
Yeah.
So
But
that was my favorite. That was my favorite line.
Yeah, I thought it was a really cool line. I just didn't understand what love falls out of me is. Is he saying it never works itself out well? It
Yep.
never goes in my favor, and so you know how you become more jaded each time?
Yeah.
That's what he was saying.
That's the very next line. I'm hardened like a rock, a stone, the brick inside my chest.
Okay, yep.
Right? His heart has
Yeah.
become hardened because, and that's one of the biggest challenges about, you know, we're talking about it last night or this morning or whatever because, I'm just going to get 2 hours of sleep for the rest until this guy's born. And it's funny because I don't feel tired. So, there you are. But we're talking about that, about how, last night, how, I'm just now thawing out, and I'm going to be completely different next year, and how you didn't stay as long in your bad relationship that I did.
Yeah, mine was different than yours.
So because of that, well, I don't think it would have been different if you would have stayed the same amount of years. It would have had the same effect on you.
Oh, yeah.
So you didn't stay as long in that bad situation, whereas I stayed for a very, very long time because
Can you screw that just a little bit?
and in order to I talked about cynicism and things like that and holding a lot. And it was funny because we were friends at the time, so you were observing our interaction, and it looked like I was being a cold person a lot of the times.
Yeah.
But a lot of it just had to do with I knew that another cycle was coming, so whatever. So like getting yourself.
He's saying when he was married previously, I was friends with them. They were friends with me and my spouse as well. And I would like observe them, and it looked like he was being like really cold in the relationship, but that's because he had been through so many cycles in that relationship, so he knew what was coming next, So.
I mean, and to be fair to her, I mean, she has borderline personality disorder, which is extremely, extremely difficult to, I'm not absolving her of anything, but I mean, reasons are reasons. It's a very, people can survive it and work around it and all that if you've got the whatever, but I mean, it's extremely damaging. So I'm used to, shutting down on. And it's crazy because I've been in situations where people would be like, "Oh man, you're in that situation. Yeah, you gotta shut down your emotions," and I didn't. Those are my brothers, and da 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 da. And and you knew, mathematically speaking, you were gonna lose people, but I never did that. It's like you just went in there, and that's a stereotype for a lot of people in those situations. But a lot of guys aren't like that. They're very emotional because that's what motivates you to say, okay. Like we're gonna make them feel like how we feel right now. So I didn't do that in that relationship. Forget it. That's a whole quotes about love and war. I would much rather war than being in that situation for sure. Yeah. So we were talking about that last night about like the thawing process of getting there and all that, and then you having to deal with Did you think like, oh, it's me, so he's just gonna?
Yeah, because we were always we were friends for so long, and I never I would see you go through and I would tell you you're elbowy. Remember I'd say that?
Yeah.
You were always like that. Whenever you'd get in that headspace where you were like that, I'd be like, Jesus, you're elbowy and stuff. And so, but you would always but I wasn't with you constantly, you know what I mean? And I didn't need your love at that point, you know what I mean? We were friends, so if you want to be elbowy, fine, I'm just gonna go do my thing, you know what I mean? It didn't really affect me, you know what I mean?
You can still
I would
do
just.
that. You don't need me now either.
That's not true. I wish I was more like that, but no. So I would just, I'd just go on and do my own thing or whatever.
I don't need
and
you.
you'd come around, lies.
I just need Allah. You're like Pepsi. I do think though that I do think that I would much rather be wanted than needed. Like I hate being needed.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not, like calling you out on the video. I'm just talking about my life, for the last 10 years. I've been a very, very needed person, and it's exhausting.
Yeah.
Whereas being wanted is a different, like being with you is a very, 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 very different experience. Like when you're not on the need scale, and it like yesterday was like there was just a lot. I just felt like a lot of want, and I could just relax and be myself and chill out. I didn't really feel needed. I just felt wanted, and we were just chilling, and we were happy.
Oh, yeah.
Like when I feel needed, then I start like, because I'm so sick of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I hate being needed, but I love being wanted. But a lot of people who've never had the experience of being needed wish they were needed.
Yeah.
They wish, we were in a group where the dynamic was everybody needed Vin, and then there were other people that were like, well, how come nobody needs me? And they were very, very jealous of it. And of course, for me, it was completely exhausting.
Yeah.
So, I'm not a fan of like relationships where people feel needed. Because to me, it's like I always say, if you're in the desert, there's nothing, like if water had sentience, it would be like, oh, it's like, well, of course, like if I don't have you, I'm gonna die. So of course, I need you, But if you're in a Walmart and there's literally hundreds of beverages that you can choose from, and you make a beeline to that Pepsi, if the Pepsi was sentient, like that guy really wants me. And that's the space I'd like to live in, where like, I could, that's why I said, like, really for me, it's like, I need God. Like, there's no real choice for me as far as God goes. Like, I would die. But as far as like, you're like, for me, it's the beeline to the Pepsi. Like, that's you. You know what I mean? Like, I would choose you 100 times out of 100 times of all the 4 billion women that are on the planet, and it's not because without you I would die. It's because you just add color and music to my life. You know what I mean? So people romanticize the need thing. I'm not a fan of that at all. But Peter always goes after me because he's like Vin. Or he says win, because of his accent, Shout out to the big homie. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of, I don't really romanticize the needed thing. I think that's unhealthy.
Well, honestly, honey, that's the microphone set.
Oh, it is?
Stuff. Yeah, so if we start pulling that out, it's going to get lost.
Why is this out here?
It was in our camera bag.
We could have used this. Shout out to Lindsay.
I know.
Shout out to Raven Black.
Raven Black. Yeah. No, it's I think that how you've talked about like things that you've experienced, which I'm not going to go into detail on, but that like if you have let's say it's somebody who's like has all the access to a certain thing. Like at first it's like, whoa, this is awesome, and like let's just say it was cotton candy. Like let's say you were like, I love cotton candy, and then like you eat so much cotton candy because it's free and you have a lifetime supply of free cotton candy.
Right.
Like eventually you get to the point where you're like, I can't even look at cotton candy anymore because you indulge so much in cotton candy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, and I think that what happened with you is that you are always in situations where people like need you, like, and they latch on to you, and it's like this need, like it's like a survival thing for them. Like it's the weirdest thing. Like,
yeah.
And I've seen you in a couple different contexts, and it's the same all the time. Like it always goes there. Yeah. So
well, there was one particular context where I was around a group of dudes that were exactly like me. So none of us needed each other, and we would go out. Yeah. Well, that was very hard to leave that behind.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. Yeah.
Because there was one point where I was living in both worlds. I had to go out. I'd get up, called off, and and I remember the thing that we were doing had just started.
Oh my Word.
The thing that me and you were doing,
Yeah.
the thing that we did downtown had just started, and I got called. Remember, I got called off,
Oh, yeah.
and then we had the, we had the meeting, and I had written some things for everybody, and like,
Oh yeah, I remember.
I mean, then we had. So I was in a plane with, I was a plane, and I'm getting these messages. It's like, you need to come back, blah 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 blah. And of course, a person had no idea what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm not mad at her for it.
Right.
But it was just like, you need to come back, and da da da. And it was some petty drama thingamajig. And I just like put down the thing, and I looked around at my guys. I'm like, yeah. Hopefully they extend this situation. Which, if they did, would have meant really bad things. But, it was just... But it's so cool.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
like so relaxing being around dudes that were just like self-contained.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They didn't need anything. I didn't need anything from them. But
Right.
it was like, we had stuff to take care of. And, And I think sometimes it's like... with me and you, when I'm like, I just need you. You know what I mean? Like, stop worrying about my opinion of you,
Uh-huh.
But go ahead, the cotton candy thing.
Yeah, so I just think that you've had so much, like, all the time, like, every group, oh my gosh, there's more people that are like, need you. And so it's lost its, like, first time sweet cotton candy in your mouth feel. So you're like, wow, okay, this is not healthy. This is not healthy for that person. This is not healthy for me. Because anytime that people got that way with you, like, it wasn't good for them. It was almost like it stunted their own growth because they were, like, so latched onto you. So,
Yeah.
and I've seen it, all over the place. Myself included, like, I got very latched onto you at one point.
It's not like people don't need their friends per se. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's a difference between regular human
And
need
ravenous need.
versus neediness.
Yeah.
I think that's different,
Yeah.
right? Like, so, we could have, like, in the last week, I did a couple firesides and live shooting with people. And we could have shot some videos in that period, but I wanted to be around Village.
Yeah.
And I told them that. You know what I'm saying? And that was real.
Yeah.
So, I'm not saying that people should walk around and never need each other. I'm just saying, like, neediness is, like, crazy to me. Like, it's not... I don't understand how it gets romanticized.
Well, I think that people that don't have lots of people... Like, I think that the first time that somebody, like, needs you and you're, like, that important to them, like, it makes them feel important. So
Yeah, it makes
then-
them feel like they're little gods.
Right, but... No, I hear you.
It's like-
But I think that if it doesn't happen all that often, then it looks like it's so, like, oh, like, that's so awesome and stuff.
But do you think you need me? Like, if I died tomorrow, like, you wouldn't be able to go on? Like, I think
No, I'd go on.
you'd birth Oreo and you'd go out and,
Yeah, in some ways I think I would get stronger because...
Right.
Like, right now, like, you're like my fallback, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like...
Right.
okay.
Now, if I was 85 and you died, I'd say, all right, well, peace out. I've lived a full life. Like, khalas. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, you hear those stories, or
Yeah.
like Titanic, the old people. Like,
Yeah.
that's, I just feel like that's different. You know what I'm saying? Like, but, yeah, I don't, that's the thing about you is like, I've seen you at close to the peak of your powers, and you don't need anybody. You don't need a damn soul.
Well, that's because...
Except for Allah.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, but that's because I realized very quickly that there's nobody that I could rely on because nobody could pull their end like I was pulling mine. And I felt, I'm like, I am like all for the empowerment of women and the strength that women have just as being females. I love that stuff, you know what I mean? So like when I was pulling more weight, like I was in lots of situations where I was overseas and I was with men and I was with women and everybody was failing me. Nobody could pull
like
their
one of the things
weight.
that was the things that drew me to you was that I was like, okay, she can relate to this.
Yeah, I mean,
because I would watch and it would be like, it was like 1 and 1A. Like,
but I expected people to not do it. So when they didn't, I was like, and I would just move on. You know what I mean? Like, and I would just take care of business myself. Like, here's a for instance. I was overseas on a mission trip, and I was with men and I was with women, and we were rolling up to a prison. It was a men's prison, and You should have seen that prison. It was pretty crazy. It wasn't like American prisons.
It was a Latvian prison, right?
Yeah, it was in Latvia.
Yeah, it's no joke.
So we rolled up there. I was not scheduled to be the speaker at this prison. The men were, which kind of makes sense, being that it's a men's prison.
Right.
One of them said, they said, okay, so what are you preaching on? I think I asked, or somebody asked. He said, oh, I don't have anything. What do you mean you don't have anything? God didn't give me anything. Are you serious?
Did he give you a Bible? You dummy!
What about you? I asked all the guys in the car. Nobody's going to speak. The translator wasn't going to speak. So the only one left was me. I was like, fine, I'll preach to these people. And then, we went in and I had to, pull something together and go up and, speak in front of all these men, which was kind of awkward for me because it was a men's prison. They haven't seen women in so long. And then you're standing up there in front of them trying to keep
can you
them
imagine you've
focused
been
on
in prison for a million years and then here's Sori preaching the gospel? Yeah, whatever. I believe.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, I've seen the light.
But
What's your number?
It was weird. I'm not saying that I had a proper response to it because all I did was basically
well, that's what
look down on them because I'm like, you're supposed to be men.
That's what the prophetess said to homeboy. She was like, yeah, I'll go with you, but now all your glory is going to go to a woman, so, hey.
Yeah. But that's kind of stuff happen all the time.
Yeah, so you
So I was like, fine, whatever.
You were really strong and independent, and I love that.
And then, then I met you, and you were so strong in and of yourself. And so, there was finally somebody that I could be, lean on a little bit. But then I think that I don't know, with all of the changes and everything in my life, it was everything just kind of, all came together in all these different situations. And then it really started changing me. And then all of a sudden I wasn't relying on my, strength as a woman and my strength in God as a woman of God. Instead, it was I'll just lean on Vin. Honestly, though, I've been miserable doing that. It's not very fun. I preferred my own strength. So, but yeah. Anyway, so great song.
Yeah, I mean, that's, have you ever wished for death and prayed all night for your last breath? Have you ever waited to forget the failure of ever wanted to forget the failure of your dreams? Allahu Akbar.
Wow.
Because I've never felt wanted, I've never felt needed. Jeez, that's rough. I wonder, and there's got to be people who've lived their entire life and never felt. It's I was talking to Peter and we were talking about the whole Cardi B pornography situation.
Yeah.
Yada, yada, yada. Of course, I'm coming from it from the perspective of a guy who has, and you also who've worked with these girls who've been trafficked. Mm-hmm. So we're seeing their side and the ugliness of it and the pain and the suffering and the kids getting...
And the fear.
The fear of the drug addiction and the kids being taken by the state, But Peter said something very interesting to me when he's talking about but a lot of these, there are a lot of just scummy dudes who are just there to take advantage of women, but there's a lot of men who feel that sense of rejection, and there's a sense in which, that type of, I mean, obviously, I'm never gonna, everybody knows how I feel about it, but he said, what about the guy who has been rejected all of his life and really emotionally abused by women, because women can do a number on the psyche of a man for sure. Mm-hmm. And so the whole concept of never feeling like you're a wanted person, whereas, that can produce, and everybody knows it's false, but it kind of produces in that moment the illusion of being wanted by this person. See what I'm saying? And he was like, what about that person? And of course, in the moment, I was like, because again, I'm thinking about the people that OD'd on drugs and everything because they were in that terrible lifestyle.
Yes, but remember that story, that girl, I can't remember her name. The one that, she went with that guy and then she killed him. He had his hands like this.
Oh yeah, Centoya Brown, yeah.
You felt bad for him because, it was kind of like that. It seemed like...
Well, yeah, he had his hands clasped and things like that. But that was a very extreme situation.
Yeah.
It took a very extreme situation for me to feel pity for the dude, But he was talking about, no, let's just say that there's a guy and he meets him, he does a business transaction and meets a girl in a hotel. Yes, it's a scummy thing to do, But not all of them are just nasty truck drivers who are just trying to get off. A lot of, what about the soul aspect? Because I'm looking at it like the physical aspect of it. And Peter, of course, Peter's an atheist or an agnostic, whatever. He's not going to say the soul aspect.
Yeah.
But that's how I'm translating it. Like,
Right.
what about the soul aspect about being a person who's constantly rejected all the time? And they're in a lot of emotional pain, and even though they know if it wasn't for this capital, this girl would have nothing to do with me,
Yeah.
they can pretend for X amount of time that they are,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm like, okay, you know, somebody sent me something, and there's this thing called like a girlfriend experience, and like you rent out the girl for the night, and she acts like your girlfriend, and sometimes it's not even.
Sexual.
Yeah, it's like, whoa, like you take her on a date and da-da-da-da-da and all this, and I was like, whoa, man, like, so,
That's sad.
well, yeah, so it kind of like, Peter's a real, I appreciate him because he'll say, like, when you're an idiot, he has a real, he has real convictions, and he says, have you thought about this angle, which, there's probably other people that talk to me too, but for some reason he's one of the few people that like gets through to me on stuff. So, I didn't in that moment, Peter, have any, whatever, but I thought about it, and then somebody sent me that thing, and I looked at it, and I was like, well, okay. Like, what if you were a person beat down, horrible mommy issues, and then you never felt wanted. You never felt wanted all through high school. And he was talking about not being able to look people in the eye and stuff like that. Not Peter. I mean, Peter's a beautiful brother. He's a good-looking dude. I mean, Peter can walk down the streets of whatever and be like, "Hey, you, I'm Peter." You know what I'm saying?
I'm buying you a drink.
Yeah, I'm buying you a drink. You know what I'm saying? So, not him, but he was talking about people in that situation. He's like, "What about those people?" I'm like, "All right, like now I'm like, whoa, wait a second. It's deeper than just some nasty dude at a trucker stop or whatever, whatever. So you gotta kind of. So anyway, the point of like wanting to be at least wanted.
Yeah.
And that's such a deep. I think the want to be wanted is more powerful actually than the need to be needed. And the reason I'm saying that is because again, it's the whole Pepsi in Walmart versus water in the desert analogy. But I also think that the being needed all the time is a category that God should occupy. I don't believe that we were created to be needed, but I do believe we were created to be wanted. Because that's Adam and Eve, right? Where Adam looks at her and he's like, whoa, flesh of my flesh, bone of my bone. She'll call you, she's like me. Oh my gosh, you're like me. And so that was her first experience was, whoa, this dude really, really wants me.
Right.
Like, he was in paradise. He didn't need her. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But he wanted her, and that was her first experience in the relationship, was being wanted. And of course, I'm sure she reciprocated. Like, whoa, hey, I don't know what you're doing. What's going on, mister? And so I think that that's something that's wired in us, because most of us are supposed to pair off. You know what I'm saying? That's God's strategy for filling the world.
Right.
So I think the want to be wanted, I think that degree of rejection is extremely painful. And so I think sometimes people will medicate themselves in different ways, and they go through that avenue to do that.
Yep.
I still think the industry is horrible, and I think that, whatever, but I do think that, okay, I can see how, a person would do that, and, it's kind of sad. I didn't read the rest of the article, and sometimes the stuff is too sad I won't read the rest of the article, especially when I see, renting the girl out and not even having sex with her, but just, having a companion, somebody to talk to him or whatever. I'm like, all right, I can't read this anymore. That's, it's tough stuff, man. People in a lot of pain. I feel lucky, to have you. You know what I'm saying? Because, no, I do. Because, especially because, we just got together. We got a lot of juggling parts. So, once we really, really figure it out and hit our stride, it's gonna be sweet. But nights like last night, nights before, just chilling and talking, messing around. We were friends, but it was more than friends. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, it's good stuff. Good song. We're rambling too long. People probably shut off by now. What do you give the song?
It's a 9 for me. I really liked it.
It's a 7.9. I'll give it an 8. Like I said, if there would have been some sort of different middle or something like that to create some variation out of, I'd have liked to have seen that. But I'm actually surprised that we talked as long about the song as we did. Shout out to the big homie Rachel. Village Maggot.
Yep.
Vin out.
Story out.
Gone.